I didn't lose my husband in one big dramatic moment. I lost him in small ones. In eye rolls, in sarcastic comments, in the way I looked past him like he was background, in the way I made him feel like he was always trying to earn a place he already deserved. And the worst part, by the time I realized what I'd done, another woman had already made him feel like more than enough. Before I continue, take a second to subscribe. These are real-life stories about love, regret, and the lessons people learn when it's already too late. If you've ever taken someone for granted or been taken for granted, this one will hit. I'm 38 now. When I met my husband, I was 29. He wasn't flashy, but he was steady. Not the kind of man who talked big, but the kind who showed up every day no matter what. He worked hard, loved deeply, and treated me like I mattered. He remembered the small things. He made me tea when I was sick. He held my hand in public like he was proud of me. For years, I told everyone I was lucky. But inside, I started comparing. I watched social media and saw women with men who bought luxury bags and surprise vacations. I saw big houses, private jets, perfect lives. I knew most of it was fake, but it still planted something in my head. I started looking at my husband like he was not enough. Not because he was a bad man. Because he wasn't an Instagram fantasy. The change in me didn't happen overnight. It was slow, quiet. It started with little comments that sounded like jokes. "You're really wearing that. You're so basic. Must be nice to live such a simple life." I didn't call it disrespect. I called it honesty. The truth is, I became addicted to control. I wanted him to become a version of a man that made me look good. More money, more status, more ambition, like he was a project instead of my partner. When he worked late, I complained. When he came home tired, I acted unimpressed. When he tried to be romantic, I acted like it was cheesy. When he bought me flowers, I said, "We need savings, not petals." And every time I said those things, I saw something in his eyes dim. But I didn't stop. Because I didn't think he'd ever leave. I thought he was the kind of man who would endure anything as long as he loved you. Then he got a new job. Not a huge promotion, not a life-changing salary, just a different role at a private company. He started attending events, networking, dressing nicer. He seemed a little more confident. Instead of being proud, I became suspicious. I asked too many questions. I teased him about acting important. I made him feel guilty for growing. And that's when he met her. I didn't know her name at first. I just knew there was someone new in his world because he started coming home different. Not late, not secretive, just lighter, like someone had reminded him he mattered. One night at dinner, I made another comment, careless, sharp. I said, "You're lucky I stayed with you. Most women want more." He put his fork down slowly and looked at me, calm, tired. He said, "Do you even hear yourself anymore?" I laughed like he was being dramatic. "Oh, please, you're sensitive." He didn't argue. He just nodded like he finally understood something. A few weeks later, he told me he was invited to a charity event through his company. I wasn't interested at first. It sounded boring, but then I heard the guest list included wealthy donors, executives, and local celebrities. Suddenly, I wanted to go. Suddenly, it mattered. At the event, I wore a dress that screamed confidence. I walked in ready to impress people who didn't know me. And that's when I saw her. She wasn't loud, she wasn't showing off. She didn't need to, everyone knew her. People smiled when she entered. She was calm, polished, powerful. And yes, she was a billionaire. I found that out later, but even before I knew, I could feel it. She walked up to my husband like she was genuinely happy to see him. She touched his arm lightly. She spoke to him like he mattered. Like he was a man worth listening to. I watched him smile at her, soft, real, comfortable. A smile I hadn't seen on him in a long time. That night, while I was busy networking for myself, she was investing in him emotionally, asking about his ideas, complimenting his work, listening. Later, I overheard her say something that made my stomach drop. She told him, "You don't realize how rare you are." My husband looked down, almost embarrassed, and she smiled warmly like she meant every word. I felt jealousy, but deeper than that, I felt fear. Because in that moment, I understood what I had done at home. I had made him feel like he was always lacking. And this woman, who had everything, was making him feel valuable. A month later, he changed. Not in a dramatic way, in a quiet way. He stopped trying to please me, stopped reacting to my criticism, stopped explaining himself. Then one night, he sat me down and said, "I'm not happy." I laughed like it was impossible. "What do you mean?" He said, "I feel like I'm constantly failing in my own home." I blamed him. I said he was weak. I said he was throwing away our marriage for attention. I said he was being selfish. He didn't raise his voice. He just said, I've been treated like I'm not enough for years, and I finally realized I don't have to live that way. He moved out 2 weeks later. Not to live with her, not immediately. But I knew. Because once a person remembers their worth, they don't go back to being someone's emotional punching bag. A few months after our separation, I saw photos online, not gossip pages, charity posts. My husband beside her, dressed sharp, smiling confidently. He looked like a man who had been restored. And it hit me in the guts. I didn't lose him because she was rich. I lost him because she respected him. I lost him because she treated him like he was enough. And I trained him to believe he was. If you're listening to this and you're in a relationship, hear me clearly. Don't mistake love for permission to disrespect someone. Don't confuse criticism with motivation. And never assume someone will stay just because they're loyal. Even the most loyal heart breaks when it's constantly told it isn't enough. If this story made you think, subscribe for more real-life stories about love, mistakes, and lessons learned too late.